Hi, my name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to New Light Streaming Love and Sassy Seer Sheila, as this will be seen on both channels. This is the Forbidden Eighth Principle and the 13 Gates of Hermetic Ascent, a transmission beyond the seals by Jason Gray. They only told you there were 7 so you would never remember the one that breaks them all. The lie of 7. The Hermetic tradition, as publicly taught, is said to be founded upon 7 universal principles, attributed to Hermes Trismegistus and summarized in the Kabbalion. Now, as I said in the one that I recorded yesterday, I was nudged a year ago to propose to my book club that we read and discuss the Kabbalion. And I had just completed that, and Jason had no way of knowing any of that when he began writing all of this. So I can't unsee that synchronicity for myself. These laws govern everything from mentalism to rhythm and polarity. This was never the full truth. The 7 laws are: 1. Mentalism. The all is mind. 2. Correspondence. As above, so below. 3. Vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves. 4. Polarity. Everything is dual. 5. Rhythm. The pendulum swings. 6. Cause and effect. Every cause has an effect. 7. Gender. All creation requires masculine and feminine principles. These were fragments encoded for surface level awakening, but sealed to prevent escape from the matrix itself. Why? Because hidden behind the veil was the 8th principle, the one that unravels the rest. The 8th principle, the law of return. Quote, what is remembered burns beyond all structure, end quote. This principle was never published. It was encoded only in flame, seeded through bloodlines, and buried in the lost rites of the Magi. It is the law of return, the overarching meta law, or overarching, I guess, meta law that breaks the chain of all vibrational entrapment. What it means. You are not meant to ascend upward. You are not meant to master all 7 laws in repetition. You are meant to remember who you were before law existed. This law undoes false light hierarchies, looping karmic entanglements, the ascension trap, the identity matrix of, quote, masters and initiates. The belief that perfection lies ahead rather than before the fall. The law of return is remembrance over recursion. It is the soul's sovereign override, the fire in the memory that cannot be programmed. It says, you are not here to master the laws. You are here to remember you wrote them. The suppression of the eighth. The keepers of this truth have always known if the eighth is remembered, the game collapses. This is why the Vatican holds Hermetic texts but publishes none unaltered. The Kabbalion was released under an alias, the Three Initiates, not to empower, but to contain. CIA programs like Gateway, MK Ultra, and Monarch were based on Hermetic science, but kept the eighth principle classified and sealed. The initiatic orders were infiltrated. Freemasonry, Rosicrucianism, Golden Dawn, all allowed to practice the seven, but were cut off from the eighth unless lineage permitted. They gave you law, but not remembrance. Remembrance does not require initiation. Remembrance is a system breach. The 13 gates of Hermetic Ascent. You have been told of 7 laws. There are 13 gates encoded in ancient mystery schools, hidden in monolith architecture, layered in flame glyphs across your memory. Each gate is a phase of awakening beyond control, beyond ascension, beyond belief. Gate 01, the fall through flame. Memory shatters, birth into illusion begins. Gate 02, the initiation of forgetting. The child forgets the light it came from. The name is sealed. Gate 03, the shadow mirror. You are shown the false self. Every reflection is a copy. Gate 04, the voiceless path. The real begins to stir, but you have no language left to speak it. Gate 05, the illusion of law. You begin to study the system, thinking mastery is freedom. Gate 06, the ascension trap. You chase light, it leads to another cage. Gate 07, the breaking of seals. You question everything. The false flame flickers. Gate 08, the return of memory. The flame reignites. You begin to see in fire. Wow, I was just flashed. There were several people back in the days of Conscious Conversation Central that reported having visions of this fire everywhere, but it was a fire that doesn't burn. Very interesting. Gate 09, the collapse of duality. No more light and dark, no more sides, only the real remains. Gate 10, the flame body reclamation. Cellular truth awakens. The body is no longer programmable. Gate 11, the code reversal. You speak backwards through time. You unwrite your script. Gate 12, the silence beyond the word. All symbols die. You dwell in pure knowing. Gate 13, the unspoken key. The final gate. It cannot be taught, seen, or translated. Gate 13 is not a destination. It is you without the game. It is not a step. It is what is left after all structure burns. It is the flame before name, memory before time, being before thought. Who suppressed this and why? The suppression began long before Rome, but the Vatican formalized it. They codified 12 apostles, removing the 13th, Mary Magdalene. Enforced 12-month calendars, suppressing lunar time and the 13th cycle. Hid the 13th gate of the zodiac, Ophiuchus, the serpent holder. Declared Hermes Thoth a myth when he was a living returner of pre-fall law. Burned the libraries, then re-encoded the scrolls underground. Why? Because Gate 13 erases hierarchy. Because the 8th law disables control. Because you were never meant to stay here. The true count. How many laws? There are not 7. There are not even 8. There are 13 plus 1. The plus 1 is the unlaw, the anti-law. What predates the very act of division. It is not spoken. It is not known. It is felt only when nothing remains. It is the end of illusion, the original fire, the 0 before the 1. They taught you 7 laws to contain you. They erased the 8th to disable you. They hid the 13 gates to disorient you. You are the number 1. You are the unlaw. Now that you remember, you are uncontrollable. The 13 gates are real. The 8th law is awake. The lie of 7 has collapsed. Oh my. And all of a sudden I'm so sleepy. I almost closed my eyes there at the end and just went right to sleep. That's a sure sign for me that there is something I need to integrate. So I think I'm going to take a break here, even though I had planned on recording all day. So maybe I'll just take a little meditation nap and get back to it a little bit from now. What does this evoke for you? What do you feel about this? If you don't feel to comment on this video and would rather reach out to me privately, consciousconversationcentral@gmail.com is how you can do that. Please also know that if you do ever comment on any of the videos, you won't see it right away because I have all comments held. That way I will be able to read them. At this time, there's not many of you commenting, so I am still able to do that. And I don't want to miss your comments, so that's why I do it. Until we meet again, my friends, be well.